college, I was like, I want to be a Catholic speaker. Like, that's going to be, whoa.
Whoa.
I guess God doesn't want me to be a Catholic.
We just lost power.
I guess God doesn't want me to be a Catholic speaker. Is that God's way of telling me you're not meant to be a Catholic speaker?
I hope it's not coming off weird.
No, it's not. I'm good.
Okay.
It's like a bromance over here.
Tom, can we get lunch after this? Can we get coffee?
Yeah, let's do it.
Father Suso, I would like to start a young adult group. Is that something that we could do here? And he's like, yeah, sure. What's your name?
Welcome to the Exposing Catholic show, where we expose the lives, stories, and interactions of Catholics. Our guest today is Joe. Welcome on.
Hey, Dom. Hey, Cassie.
Hey.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming.
Glad to be here.
So what's your title with Catching Fire?
I am technically co-founder and president. And there's another guy with me. His name's Jimmy Ludwig. We founded it together. He's the one that actually gave me the title of president. So I don't want anyone to think that I was the one that like self-imposed myself. I'm the impromptu president. No, he's like, we need a leader. We can't both be president. He's like, you're the guy. And I was like, I will pray about it, but here we are. So.
No,
well, what
awesome.
is Catching Fire? So you can explain that.
Catching Fire has gone through a wide range of what we are and what we aren't. We are a young adult ministry focused on serving the young adult Catholics of the Diocese of Cleveland. We're really focused on building community and forming Catholics to be really essentially spiritual warriors for this time. That's the goal. We really want every person that walks in to Catching Fire to walk out a more well-formed Catholic, more equipped to be able to take on the world. So that's really what our goal is.
Mm-hmm. No, that's incredible. And
Yeah.
I tell her, I've even told you this before, but it's like I cannot toot your horn enough because
I don't deserve it.
I do not like retreats or conferences or young adult stuff in general. I just have it's a bad taste in my mouth. But anything I've went to that you've been like in the background or a part of or running, it's been just blown me out of the water.
Man.
So
You're too good to me, man.
It's really good.
I need to be humbled, not praised, but I appreciate that. Thank you.
yeah, I mean, we want to come here. It's an hour away for us to drive all the way out here.
Yeah. It's crazy because you're not the only ones that make the trip. I don't even know if it's in my backyard. I don't even know if I would make the trip for myself, So it means a lot though, but I appreciate it. There are people that drive upwards to an hour to come every week, and it's such a blessing and a testament to what the Holy Spirit's done. But I mean, what the Holy Spirit's done through us. So I don't take any of the credit myself, but I appreciate it. Praise God.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So were you always like this charismatic and faith-filled, or how'd you get to this Joe that's like the Catching Fire guy?
It's been a lot of change, let's just say. So when it all started, I'm the oldest of 4 boys in my family.
Let's start with
your childhood,
let's start with the beginning, because that gives preface to where I am now. When I started growing up, I'm the oldest of 4 boys, so I have three younger brothers. My parents were pretty faithful. Like my dad and my mom were very faithful, and they knew all the basics. Took us to church every week. We prayed before we went to bed. Pray before meals. Like that was the gist. And I was always very, very, very obedient. I didn't really ever question anything. I was like, they said it, so we're doing it, right? Mm-hmm. My brothers were a little more like, oh, we try to question things. I was just like, parents said it, we're doing it, right? So, but then when I was 16, I lost my dad to cancer. And he was like the rock of the family. Like he had the faith. He was the one that taught us everything. And for myself, like it was earth shattering. And I didn't know what to do. And then 3 months after he died, 2 months after he died, I sustained a skull fracture to my head. And so I don't know if you can see my scar here. Mm-hmm. I have it on both sides. What ended up so I was playing high school baseball. I was 16. I was playing high school baseball. I wasn't even supposed to play that day. I was backing up somebody, and I was taking their reps before the game out for some high school game. And so we're out there, and I'm at second base, and my coach is at the pitcher's mound hitting fly balls over my head, and I was the cutoff guy, like catching them, throwing back to him at the pitcher's mound. And so there was one, instead of getting it, I caught it, and I turned around, and instead of getting it over my head, hit a line drive, and it just bang right off my skull. Went down, blood everywhere. It was not fun. My mom wasn't even there at the time. Rushed to the hospital, found out I had like a 1/2 inch depth skull fracture. that didn't hit my brain, thankfully. But and so I had to get cut ear to ear and surgery, and it was not fun. But I have a dissolvable plate put in my head, and the rest is history. So it brings to my point. My father passed. I had that traumatic event, and I was a junior in high school, and oh my gosh, like I came to this point where I was just really questioning my faith and God, because up until this point everything had been decided for me and I had never chosen anything for myself. And so everything in me wanted to just step away and wanted to run and just go everywhere I could to get away from my past, and just pick a new life. But I remember in one place, and in one way in particular, that I was praying really authentically for the first time. I really heard my dad's voice say, like, you got to stay on this path. And I had this fork in the road. I could see it, this fork in the road. And he's like, you got to just continue to stay down this path. And for me, I was like, okay, here we go. And so I went down this blind faith and kept going. Ended up going to the University of Dayton. And University of Dayton is my dad's dad went there, so for me it was a little special. And it was a Catholic Marianist institution, and I had a wonderful time there. But when I was there, though, I got exposed to what campus ministry was like, what it's like to be around actually good Catholics, and then I'd come home for the summers. And when I came home from the summers, especially one summer, my sophomore year, I was in the basement with my best friend from high school, Jimmy Ludwig, and we're just bantering. We're in his basement, just going back and forth. Literally, if any of it got out probably today, I'd probably be canceled across the board with how many hot topics we were talking about with what's happening today. But so we're just going back and forth, and what we kind of came to this, we're like, do we know anybody else to talk like politics or just religion or just life with anybody else like this? And we're like, no. Do we know of any young adult ministries, like anything? Like, we did some searching, there was nothing, like, at least to our knowledge. And so we just felt like, okay, well, we got to start something. And so at the time, Father Suso, who's pastor at this church, he was just ordained pastor of this church. And so I had gone up to him after Mass once. I was like, Father Suso, I said, Father Suso, I would like to start a young adult group. Is that something that we could do here? And he's like, yeah, sure. What's your name? I was like, so, and then the rest is history. So then I was meeting with Father routinely, and Jimmy and I were meeting with Father routinely, kind of come up with like the structure, what it was, what would look like. And for us in particular, we really wanted to focus on the conversation aspect, like what we're doing right now, because there's no place to have an insightful discussion and a respectful discussion with someone that might differ an opinion from you, but at the same time might actually be able to learn something from you, and just overall have an overall good and engaging conversation about the faith, or just in light of the real world. And so for myself, that's really what we wanted to focus on. We wanted to have good, insightful, engaging discussions that brought the light of faith into everything, whether it's politics, everyday life, you name it. And so that was the goal. And it was right around Pentecost. And Father Suso was like, well, we got to come up with a name. And Jimmy and I couldn't think of anything because we were just, not creative like that. And he's like, how about Catching Fire? And I was like, well, the Hunger Games might sue us, but we'll give it a shot. And so we went with it, and I think it's the name has stood the test of time. I think we started with 5 people around this single table with a discussion, just topic, and now we have probably about an average of like 70 people that come every week, like you said, traveling all across the diocese to come here on our Sunday nights, and it's been just such a blessing. Now we have a total of 5 different departments doing different things with like 700-800 members registered in our accounts. Like, it's been such a blessing, and we've grown a lot, we failed a lot, but and for myself, I've definitely learned a lot. I've been humbled in a lot of ways, and I'm just so honored to be this piece in Christ's puzzle. So. Yeah. Didn't that answer your question?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We were just like all over the place, but yeah.
That's good.
So, but.
What are you looking at me like that for?
I don't know why I'm looking at you like that. I thought you were going to say something.
I don't know.
No, so
there's a lot to swallow there. I know. It's okay.
I was just thinking about the head thing.
Yeah, I know. I felt like we kind of brushed past that a little bit.
Like,
yeah, I didn't want to go into it too deep. My coach felt terrible after that. Like he felt horrible, and I felt bad for him. But yeah, it was traumatic, like very bad. I couldn't do anything for like 2 months, where they were like, you cannot run around or do anything, like you are going to hurt yourself again. And it was crazy because afterwards everyone was like, oh my gosh, like you have to take a break, because the next year is my senior year, and they're like, you have to take a break from doing anything, no sports, just focus on graduating and going to college. And I'm like, nope. Like I played 5 sports and was in band. Like I was like, I'm gonna go all out, and that's what I did. So I ran cross country, I golfed, I swam, I ran a little track, only for a little bit. I was in band. I was on did I say swim team already? Yeah. So anyway, later on, and here we are. So yeah. Yeah.
That's a lot to do, especially with something like that. I can't
rest, Cassie. I'm sorry. I that's a problem of mine. I always am having to do something. If I'm doing nothing, there's a problem. So that's where I could definitely grow. So yeah.
We've got something special for all our Catholic organizations. Now, before you skip past this part, it's not an ad. It's more like an incredible opportunity to take your digital presence to the next level. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret here. Something only for our podcast listeners. We, DM Productions, have a 2-day Catholic social media makeover course. It's an online course specifically made for Catholic organizations. It will take your social media to the next level. And we make it easier than ever with our step-by-step video walkthroughs, cheat sheets, customizable templates, and more. Catholic organizations, let's start creating the quality and results that secular businesses have, but with the depth and beauty of Catholicism. Oh, and did I mention the price? $700. But remember I said I was going to let you in on a little secret? Use code DMPodcast to get it completely free. No credit card required. Just pop that code in and you're all set. Head over to www.dm.productions/social media makeover, or click the link in the description. Now back to the show. So you're talking about throughout your life, and you didn't know whether or not to stick with the faith, or you're just kind of wavering a little bit, and then you go into this faith-filled environment and you come out you're just on fire. That's just what going along with your
right on fire, right? Yeah, the fire theme there. At least for myself, people like talk about their own personal testimonies, and it's either one or the other. It's like they have this moment where they got blinded by light, like Paul, like Saul into Paul, or it was like this slow burn. And for me, it was definitely a slow burn. And I learned so much as time went on. As I was investing in myself more and more into this, I realized more and more how true this is, and how much of a standard I need to hold myself up to, and how good Christ is, and how much of an effect it has on my life. So it was a slow burn. I wouldn't say there's any specific moment I was like, this is it, like I have to just radically shift my life. I'm here today because of just continually saying yes in small ways. And I failed at times. I'm not perfect, and just like everybody, I'm human. But I think it's a lot about just keep saying yes to the Lord. And we were just talking about this before. Like, I feel like God's telling me to do this, so we just say yes. And I think that's what life's about. If you could continually say yes to Him, even in times are rough. Like, I'm really struggling with this, Lord. But yes, thank you for this moment to be alive, and just to offer it up to you. And so I think just having this mindset of keep saying yes to Him, it's only going to lead you in the right direction. So yeah.
You said that there was a lot of like setbacks or just things that didn't work out with catching fire. Can you explain some of those and how you overcame them?
Yeah. Oh boy. So,
sorry to bring up
you're
this topic.
Making me look at all of my failures here. We had tried some things. So I'm all, and this is what I tell my team right now. Every year we have a new leadership team. Our leadership team lasts a year, and then we reintegrate them for a new team the next year. And some might overlap, but we always tell them, we're not afraid of failure. Let's try something, see if it sticks. If it doesn't work, move on. That's my perspective. Like, we don't have much to lose. There's not much at stake. We're at this point where I would totally be fine with like taking this big shot at something. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You move on. But that's kind of how we've been doing this. And so for the first 3 years in particular, we very much had to do it. It was a huge learning curve. And so specifically with regards to our topics of discussion, oh boy, those were, so at first we had some topics that were just not clicking. There was one that one vividly was on cyberbullying. I don't know how we brought it up. Like, I don't know how the topic came about, but someone wanted to talk about it, and someone was like, "That's a good idea." Well, it was a terrible idea. And so Father was able to put together resources, and Father like has done a good job. For the first 3 years when he was a lot more involved and leading us. He did a really good job with these small groups, but for this one in particular, it was not good. And so we tried different topics. So what I mean by like where we failed, I would say other times too. Like we also got to the point about our third year where we were just talking about spicy topics. So like. Is Pope Francis the anti-pope, or is I don't know, or we're going to talk about weed, or we're going to talk about Hamas, like you just name it, like, and so it became a banter group at times, and we're like, no, like this is not fruitful. Like the whole point and mission of what we're doing here is just so people can walk out to be more well-formed, and so we were trying different things that just weren't sticking. So these political topics, yes, they might sound good, but like we have to make sure that someone's walking out with more insightful knowledge about it through a Catholic lens than when they walked in. And so there are many points where we were just throwing things at a wall in the sense of like, let's try this topic, didn't work. Let's try this topic, didn't work. And then even like with speakers, 2 years ago, we were really trying to do a good job getting mixing it up and have speakers come and talk. And even that, like we had some really good ones, but some ones that weren't as good. But on the same time, people didn't like how we would have speakers one week, and then maybe we'd have 2 or 3 sessions with no speakers, and we'll have just discussion groups, and then the next 3 were just speakers. And so like the inconsistency there was just all over the place. And then we occasionally had this mass that we did once in a while. So we were really just trying to find our identity. We were trying things. We failed at some things, but we've gotten to this point now. We're gonna be going into our 6th year, which is, praise God, I cannot believe it's been going this long. We've been going now for 6 years, and I really feel like we finally found our identity through these, tries and failures that we've gone through over the last 6 years. So, yeah. Again, another mouthful. I'm sorry, Cassie.
No, it's good.
I gotta stop talking.
No, it's good to like, from even though you failed at one thing, it's not like, okay, this just isn't working. Like, it's not meant to be,
Yeah.
Just
Right.
give up now.
Right. Right. And you can't, because there are definitely people that I know for a fact have seen some of our stuff for one session, they're like, this is terrible, and then have never come back. Like, that has happened plenty of times. And you have to be okay with it. Like, you have to just let it brush off your shoulder, learn from it, and move on from there. Mm-hmm. That's what you have to do. If you take it so seriously every single time, so personally, if someone just doesn't come back, you do the best, but you have to let it roll off your shoulder. So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, especially Father Shuso was saying, like, the first year, it was, like, just a handful of people.
Oh, my gosh. It was, I could probably count them all on this hand. It was, like, I kid you not, sometimes it was probably just 2 or 3 of us. And that's why I think it's just so incredible to see how far it's come, because it's the Holy Spirit. Yeah, so.
Mm-hmm. How do you go about connecting with young adults? Like, just evangelizing the youth, making it... making something attractive versus just like, ugh, I think I might go to that thing. Yeah. Which is how I feel about almost every single
right. Well, I mean, it's unfortunate, and I give credit to where credit's due. Like EWTN, like they really try, and I think and I think they have some good programs. Or you just name another generic Catholic program that's out there. Usually, like for someone that's really faithful, they might find some of those things really attractive for them. But if you're like right off the cusp, and if you turn to for example, if you turn to like a Catholic radio station versus like, a secular radio station, you're going to notice some attractive differences. Mm-hmm. And so what is it about the Catholic faith that is not as like at first attractive than compared to other like more secular outlets? And I think a lot of it's because for one, like when you think of the people on fire for the Catholic faith, I think the automatic stigmatism is that they're older. Like you think of an old church woman or a church guy, or my grandma and grandpa wants me to do this. Like you don't think of the Catholic Church or the faith as something exciting. You think about it as a book of rules. You think about it as this is just an old lost tradition that they're stuck in the times, all these different things. So I think to make it attractive, I mean, you have to take a page out of the world's playbook, but obviously without losing the truth and beauty of the faith. And so, I mean, God has given us these gifts. I think the first thing is just being personable with people. For this sort of thing to happen, to actually hear someone, talk with them and listen to them and talk with them in a very loving and respectful way, I think is very attractive to a lot of people, and make it seem like I actually care about you. And I really do want the best thing for you. And so to really will their good and for them to recognize that, I think it's very important. And then on top of that too, I think anytime like you have authentic joy and personality expressed, I think that's just genuinely attractive in itself. And so if you're just, I think for the longest time, Catholics or just Christians in general are just so fearful of living unafraid. They're just so afraid, and I think that's been one of the big prohibitors of Catholicism being attractive, is because we've been just so fearful of being ourselves. And now you're finally starting to see it in the last like 10 years. Some really good, authentic, joyful men, Catholic men and women, come into the light of media and the faith. That's very attractive. So just genuine joy and happiness, I think, is very attractive. And then lastly, too, I think there is with our society now, there is a genuine longing for something more, because I think they've been really deprived, especially our generation in particular, on the verge of the internet and whatnot. I think they were told a lot of lies, and they can everyone can feel it when they're missing something. And so when they see something that someone else might have, like joy, that would be something that's gonna be like, I kind of want what they want, And the last thing I'll say to that is that there are so many people, like from high school, like they were the popular kids, like they were the jocks, they were the people that are supposed to take over the whole world. I'm being far-fetched, but like you could probably think of some of those people you grew up with, and then now I've been out of high school, I graduated 2016, and I see these same people, and they're the ones that are like, why are you like? Oh, you're so joyful. Like, what is it? Like, and there was a switch flipped, and was like, what? There was something that they want from me, because before in high school I was like, how do I be like them? Now they're like, there's something that you got that what is it? Because I couldn't find it in women. I couldn't find it in money or my job or where I was at. What is it that you have? So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really good. I mean, Lucy talked about that a lot too. Lucy Joyce, who was the first episode, she's like, just evangelizing and like showing people, like, you don't need a theology degree to bring people into the faith. Like, you just are joyful, and then people are going to be gravitated towards that. Yeah. And it's so God. Powerful.
Yeah, like, it really is. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, just your inner peace, your inner faith,
yes.
that it just pours out. Like if you're filling yourself up, then your cup can pour
overflow.
Out to everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And people forget that. I entirely agree. And we were just talking about this earlier. I absolutely think that we don't have to be theology majors. You don't have to be in apologetics like Trent Horn or something. You just got to be yourself. And even if you don't have the answer, that's okay. You just live it. So yeah. And you guys yourselves do that incredibly well, being a young married couple. Like that in itself, like is it will get you canceled anywhere else, because you're not worrying about finances or kids, what about so I commend you guys really, and and you're an inspiration to so many people, and you've already given a talk at the Catholic Singles Conference, right? Yeah, you guys are just as legit, so I want to throw it back at you.
Thank you.
It's so weird to get that thrown at you. Like,
I thought that the world was going to end when we were getting married, because I don't know. I just thought something about that like the world didn't want it. So I was like, something crazy is about to happen when like we're about to say our vows, and then an earthquake is just going to shatter.
Really? That was your perspective, Cassie? What was your perspective when you were getting married?
I didn't know that. That was something you told me recently.
Oh my gosh. I thought the world was going to end.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Not because we were getting married, but because like we were doing stuff so countercultural that it felt like nobody wanted it. Nobody wanted it but us. And so everybody's trying to like get you out of it. And, like,
right.
Yeah, I mean, doctors, like family members are like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, do you want to try living together first? Like,
oh man,
you know, you didn't have sex before marriage. Like, how are you gonna know if you're compatible or not?
Right.
Like,
It's so
all of this stuff,
countercultural.
like,
yeah.
I'm teaching my gynecologist, this is like very TMI, but like about NFP, and it's like, I shouldn't be talking about, like, you should know this, and it's just like they're judging
Why
me.
am I teaching you? Yeah.
Well, they're judging me so hardcore on
Yeah.
like what Christian values are, and it was just like, okay, like this is just how it's gonna be, and you know, doing things the right way, it's definitely not easy, but it's worth it, and like, if you know, who's gonna do it if we don't, you know what I mean?
The big motivator was like, I want to be able to tell our kids about
Right.
to be that example,
Yeah.
because everybody's telling, save sex for marriage, save this, do this, but then they
like,
didn't
did you do
it.
that?
So it's
like, no, I didn't do that.
How are you telling me all these things that we're supposed to be doing,
but you don't live it yourself?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's like, what? Like, get out of my face, dude. Like, don't be telling me this great advice that you had too, but you didn't take yourself. So it's just very interesting to see that stuff.
You're right. It is. I mean, marriage in itself is countercultural, and it almost seems like it just to wait to have sex and to get married alone in the church is just like, whoa, like you did that. Like I talk to my coworkers and other people, and they're like, it's so normal to hear like, oh, you're engaged, oh, like you guys are living together and you're doing X, Y, and Z. I'm like, no, no, so
or the rule book thing where Catholics are all about rules and you have to follow these things just because, but we've seen so much fruit come out of just following what God's telling you to do, and it's not easy at all. Like it can be really brutal and annoying, and like, man, maybe I don't want to do that thing or follow that thing. But there is, throughout our relationship, we've seen other people, friends and just people around us, and they seemed like they had something great going, and then out of nowhere, it almost seems like it crumbles. Yeah. But it's because they were letting the little things that culture and society's telling you to do creep in, and then boom, it kind of just explodes.
Yeah, man, it's crazy. Oh, sorry, Cassie, go ahead.
Oh, I don't know what I was gonna say. I just
no,
I don't know.
Yeah, so I talk too much, so I want to give you your opportunity.
Oh, you go. You go.
No, I mean, to speak onto that, Dom, I think it's people don't recognize how important their witness is. It's so like to think of, like, for you guys too. I mean, you guys are here because I'm sure there are people in your life that you look to and it's like, wow, like I love how they have lived their life, and you aspire to that. And if you have role models in your life, I'm sure it's like if all of your role models above you like fell and they just collapsed and it just felt like you were all alone, I'm sure that would like hurt, it would start to question you, right? Mm-hmm. And at least for myself, and I saw this firsthand. So I was in college and there was a buddy of mine who was very faithful guy, very faithful. And there were and he was very popular in college. A lot of people loved this guy. And then at one point he had really just fallen into sin, and publicly, like, people knew this. And he was the same guy that everyone's like, this is the Catholic guy doing this thing, so it must be okay that if he's doing it, to do that. And it became like more of like, oh, if this is a good Catholic guy doing this, then it's the Catholic Church that believes in and agrees with all this. Or it's like he was actually this pillar of a good practicing Catholic, and then he fell, and then he might have been discouraged. It might have been discouraging to other people that he fell, and it's like, if he can't do it, then I can't. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a lot of people forget how many people look to you. That, like, even if you don't know it, but there are people out there that your faith has been, their own faith has been built upon because of your witness. And it's a weight. It's an acknowledgement that, like, it's not just you doing this, but your witness is also affecting so many other people too. Mm-hmm. And you guys are role models to other people, and you guys have role models yourself, and the train keeps going. And so it's just a beautiful thing, but it holds you to a higher standard.
Mm-hmm. Going back to, like, Catholics have all these rules and stuff like that. They're not rules. Like, God's not I don't want you to do this because I just don't want you to have fun. Like, I want you to be miserable and just be boring. Like, there's guidelines. And he's like, I put these in place to protect you and to like lead you on the right path rather than like restrict you.
Right.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You landed the plane for me. That's what I was getting at.
That was good. That's good.
We're like on the following the rules, but these other people aren't, and they seem like they got some great stuff going on in their life. And then you're like, oh, wait a minute. That just went downhill fast.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he made you. Don't you think you would know? Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I said just it's unfortunate to see that happen in like people that we know, and
and they may not even realize it. They're just like, what the heck? What do you mean? Like, this is totally normal. This is what everybody's doing.
Right. Yeah.
So
it's unfortunate.
Okay.
Gotta pray for them.
Hopping from that topic to Matchbox Missionaries and Ignite. Dude, Ignite was by far the best thing I've been to. So why are you looking at me like that? I'm serious. I'm dead serious. Cute. It's phenomenal. I'm kind of like a fanboy over here. But it's okay.
I'm glad someone is.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we sat front row. Like, everybody sits ready. Like 2-3 rows back.
Yeah,
and then we were like,
I love it.
No distractions. I want to be able to see everything.
Oh my gosh, you saw me stutter the whole time. Oh my gosh. Well,
because it wasn't just one thing that was good. Most conferences, there's like, oh yeah, that one thing was great. It was thing after thing.
Did you actually think this, or are you just saying this?
No, I'm dead.
Okay.
I was telling her that at the conference because I'm like, man, I don't want to leave. I want to leave everywhere, like pretty quickly.
Oh my
I'm more of a like, don't say goodbye because I'm leaving anyway, so it doesn't matter. Like, see ya. I'm just gonna leave.
That's hilarious.
No, we were eating food, and this is where you really sealed the deal. Whatever catering you got was like, okay, they have great speakers, and then they just gave me this phenomenal food. Like, come on. Like, I'm in.
It was kudos to the hotel. That was the Marriott that did that. Oh man, no, I appreciate that. Cassie, do you have similar thoughts, or did you hate it?
I loved it.
You can hate it. You can if you want.
It was really, really good. And yeah, I mean, I had been to stuff like that before. Dom hasn't really been exposed to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So
because I've only been exposed to a few, and they've been bad.
But
so I'm like,
yeah,
no,
I mean,
you.
like, it was just, I'm used to it, and it was like, wow. This is really, really good. It just it makes me want to keep coming back for more.
Well, that inspires me to keep going. I appreciate that. Please do. Yeah, no, Ignite. There's some Matchbox led to Ignite. So I don't know if you want me to talk a little bit about.
I don't know. Was Ignite just a catching fire thing, or was it like a?
Yeah, that's a good transition there. I think so. So how do I start this? So 3 years ago, right when Catching Fire was in the heat of it all, right? We're in year 3 and things are going well, and I start to look around and I'm like, and I start to notice other young adults that are out there trying to start young adult groups. There are people that are starting to be inspired by what we're doing, and it's like, wow, this is really cool. And we weren't even the first. There's one more that there were others that were before us. But the one thing I recognized was that we went through these 3 years and they were really difficult, and I would have loved for myself to have someone to support me or to teach me or to show me what works, what doesn't work, so I don't have to go through those growing pains again. So Matchbox I thought was really cool because I was like, in my head, like, I'm a Marvel fan, so I was like, this is the calling of the Avengers, and so I got a hold of all of the young adult ministers, young adult people that were out there that I knew were trying to start a group, or were already in their own young adult ministries, and I called them all up. I was like, hey, I'm trying to make this team. Do you want to be on this young adult team? And so the goal was to be able to have this group called Matchbox Missionaries, and the goal of it was to have young adult leaders in the diocese to be able to come together once a month to be able to learn from each other, grow from each other, to pour into each other, and to hold each other accountable. And because I would have loved to have that myself, because I'm always pouring out, right? So you want people to pour into you too, and that was really what this was meant for. And so Matchbox we got together, 30 to 40 different leaders that were going to come together and meet once a month, and we had like topics of presentations that we met and presented on, and we talked about. And so this group ran for 2 years. And for once a month, we would meet together at St. Columkill, and it was very, very fruitful. And by the end of like the first year, we're like, what can we do? We have so much good, good stuff here. So many things that God has bestowed upon each one of us. Like, how can we actually use this for something that's like greater? Well, even more so than our own young adult ministries. And we're like, let's start a conference. And I was like, oh boy. Okay. At first, when someone brought that up, I was like, "There's no way this is gonna happen," and I was like, "What?" And so, oh boy. So when I first rolled out the thought of running a conference to some people I knew, they're like, "You're psycho. Like, do you think you're gonna put on a conference? Have you done one before?" I'm like, "No." Like, "No, you're not doing this." It's like, and I'm like, "Okay." And so I prayed on it for several weeks, and I was like, Lord, is this something that you really want to do? And if you want to do it, like, you got to kill it. I mean, maybe not kill it, but if you want it to happen, you have to really grace it, because otherwise just kill it, because I don't want to do it if it's just going to just crash and burn. But I was like, okay, we'll try it out. So we all got together, and for this conference we wanted to be focused on, still the fire theme was Ignite. And so Ignite really was focused on 3 different pillars, and we got together like, what embodies a good Catholic community? For that, we got together and we're trying to decide what it is that the Lord is calling for young adult ministry to be prosperous. And so with that, now I'm blanking on what those 3 are: mission, community, and
was it identity?
Identity, community, mission. Thank you. Sorry. The reason I'm blanking is because I have 3 different organizations, 3 with 3 different pillars, and identity, community, mission. Thank you, Cassie. Wow. And I'm the one that came up with that. No, and some of us came up with that. So yes, identity, community, mission. And so the reason why we wanted to focus on those 3 in particular was identity, to be able to be to even know who you are in your faith, you have to know who you are in the eyes of God and your purpose and His purpose and plan for you. So identity is the foundation that you need. Community, for yourself to be able to be in this controlled environment to sustain yourself, you can't do it by yourself. You need people around you, like Cassie and Dom, friends and people to support you, and that's what the young adult ministries are for. Are this community, this backbone for you to fall back upon. And then mission is essentially what we're all called to do. Go forth and make disciples of all nations. Like Christ is the great sending forth. He sends all of us out to evangelize, and that's his final call for all of us. And we wouldn't be fully living it out unless we did that. So this conference was focused on those 3 things. We had it this last April 2023, and I thought it had some kinks, but I mean, for what it was an absolute dream come true. To see 225 people show up, including yourselves, it was just such a blessing. We had 3 great speakers, had some breakout groups, and it was after the survey came back, it was overwhelmingly very positive, with praise and worship, adoration, confession, spiritual direction, the food. It was just overwhelmingly positive, and so much so we're going to do one 2025 February. So that's the plan. So yeah, more to come.
We'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only complaint that I had was my butt hurt from sitting in the chairs.
Yeah.
That was the only complaint that I had.
Yeah, please hit me with all of your complaints. Yes.
Pretty like wedding chairs that you see that are really aesthetic, but it's like that much cushion. Yeah. And I was like, oh, this is rough.
I can't tell you I thought of fixing that before, because it didn't happen. So, but I'm glad you stayed. It
was worth it to endure that.
Oh, I love
the rest
it.
Of the stuff.
Good.
Yes.
Good. Yeah, guys, I cried afterwards, because I was just so blessed to have the Lord have all these people in one place come together for a diocesan event. It was incredible. So yeah, praise God for you guys for showing up. So.
And there's also what is the summer one at the seminary?
Yeah, that's Becoming Fire, and
that
that is now, I think, going to be dead.
Yikes!
Yeah, so this is what Cassie is referring to, is essentially at the seminary. There was the previous vocational director, Father Mike McCandless. He was incredible. Was the second longest running vocational director in any diocese throughout the country before he left and is now the pastor in Holy Family. So he had this idea with Becoming Fire was we have to get the young adults exposed to vocations, because he wanted this block party for vocations, and so that's what that was in effort, what it was for. And so yard games, volleyball with a bunch of nuns. Like, it was gonna talk and food, like backyard cookout style. Like, it couldn't get any better. The first year I was Catching Fire was a sponsor, so we had a booth. The second year I helped MC, and this third year I didn't do anything with it. But since then, Father Mike McCandless he's not the vocational director anymore, and the diocese now it's not in the vocation hands, it's now in the diocese hands. They have decided to repurpose it. So, but for how long it was here, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
so.
I remember going to the first one, and like, it was really, really good. The second one was when you asked me to be your girlfriend, and then
It was the same day.
yeah, you
What?
like had this picnic, and then we went to
That's awesome.
yeah, and we went to Becoming Fire afterwards, and
Cute.
Yeah.
You're romantic.
he is
Of
very,
course,
he's
yeah.
very,
Really?
very,
Is he in
very-
tune with his emotions, would you
Yes,
say?
yes,
Yeah?
very much so.
Oh, that's good. Don't let the arms hat deceive you, okay?
But yeah, so I
Praise
always
God.
loved it, but
That's awesome.
We had one of the most awkward encounters with the people to buy tickets.
Oh, really?
oh my gosh.
It wasn't really their fault. I mean, it kind of was, but we were going there, and
We were a little bit late. Missionaries started,
Yeah.
and we didn't buy tickets beforehand.
Yeah.
You can tell. You keep telling it, but I'm interrupting.
yeah, go ahead, steal my story. This guy that's running, I don't know, they have like a little card scanner or something, and he's like, okay, so like one and then is like looking at his and
Tom!
and I was like,
Oh
no,
my-
two's good. And then he's like, are you sure? Are you
Oh
sure two?
my gosh, Cassie was probably just dying.
And I just don't understand. Didn't make any sense why it wouldn't be two. And
Right.
He's like trying to encourage me not to because I don't know. He was
And then
like worried
he's
about the
like-
price.
Yeah,
or
he
something.
was worried about the price. He's like, it's gonna be this much money. Is that okay? And it's like,
There were multiple checkpoints before we got
What?
to finally. I was like, yeah, that's good. He's like, sure, that's good. Yeah. And he's like, really?
I was
Just
like,
like-
what?
Oh, that is hilarious. Oh, that's a great story. You guys always have to tell that one. Oh, thank
We
God.
did get it, and it was really good. But it was just like,
Was that a first date?
no, it wasn't a first date. It was like officially a couple. kind of
Okay,
thing.
as a
Yeah.
couple. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh my
It was,
gosh.
yeah, it was just extremely awkward.
Hey, look where you're at now.
Yeah, there
Yes.
you go.
Yeah.
Maybe you needed that. I don't know. I'm just kidding. I don't know. God was just trying to question you a little bit. Dom, are you sure? Like, you don't have to do this.
Yeah, and then my friend, she was also at the conference, or not conference, Becoming Fire, and she like goes up to Dom and she's like, I looked you up on Facebook or like Instagram or something like that. Like,
She
I
did
know,
not.
there was just a bunch
You
of
got
awkward
stalked.
moments.
yeah,
but
she
what-
was like,
But isn't that normal though? Like
For girls,
For
yes.
girls, like I gotta check this guy out, see if he's actually good. You know.
yeah. But you
I
were
don't think
creeped
they
out by
admit it
that.
though.
Oh no,
They don't
she went
admit
right
it to
up
the
to you
person
and was
she
like,
Oh
told
yeah,
me.
right to your
She was
face.
like-
Yeah, that's definitely different.
Just so you know.
I stalked you on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, it was good.
Yeah.
End of story.
Oh, thank you. No,
Many memories, many fond memories came.
That's funny that's funny you say that you had an interesting experience. Well, that same week, that was the same weekend that you guys were officially a couple. That's
same
crazy
day.
because that day before I asked my now fiance to be my girlfriend.
You're kidding.
I'm not
up.
kidding.
You're
I'm not
kidding.
kidding.
Oh
And
my
she was
gosh.
there, and I was speaking, and she was talking to some of my friends, and I was like, I asked her afterwards. I was like, what? Like, and this is after the fact, after we started dating and whatnot. She's like, what? I was like, what? I saw you talking to so and so. Like, why? What were you saying to them? Like, I was inquiring. She's like, oh, like I was really just seeing what their thoughts were of you. I was like, oh, so I was really being tested here. It's like, I hope people have a good impression of me. Oh my gosh. But yeah, no, it's funny. I had asked her to meet my girlfriend the day before Becoming Fire. She was kind of taken off guard and didn't give me an answer. And then the day after Catching Fire, she had said yes. So yeah.
How did you ask her?
Well, I wouldn't say it's anything that romantic. It was funny because she was at this time she was in Findlay, and she was a student in Cincinnati, and I'm in Cleveland, and she was in Findlay for an internship. with Marathon, and she was coming here, and we're going this back and forth thing for all of summer, and so it was only like a 2-hour trip back and forth until finally Becoming Fire was at the tail end of the summer. I was like, I just gotta ask her, get this over with, because when she goes to Cincinnati, like I don't know if this thing's gonna still go on. And so she showed up, and she was kind of like, prior to this, she was kind of anxious. She's like, I don't know what's going to happen to us, blah, blah, blah. And I always told her, I said, it'll be okay. Don't worry about it. And I kind of think I made it pretty obvious I was going to ask her, but no, she didn't catch the drift. So she shows up. I'm like, we're going on a walk. So we went on a walk. We walked to the park right next to my house. And it was like 15 minutes after she went on this 2-hour car ride to get to my house. We sat down at this bench. I asked her, and she's like, okay. And I'm like, so, and she's like, so I didn't get an answer. I was like, it's okay. I know it's a lot. Like, we could talk about it later. And she's like, yeah, like, I'm pretty sure. She was like, we'll pray about it. I was like, okay. And I kept my head held high and walked out. So
oh my gosh.
Then Becoming Fire happened. And then I don't know if that must have played to my advantage when I was emceeing, I hope, or what she asked people, because the next day she said yes. So, yeah.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys, I'm sure, have a great story,
the morning
too. I want to hear yours.
We had like this whole day planned, and you like had a huge cooler.
We're going out for a picnic lunch.
Yeah. And so
I needed a cooler.
Romantic.
Yes. And
because it was very hot. We couldn't put it in a basket.
I am talking.
I gotta feel the details in there.
I'm talking, Tom.
Tom,
don't interrupt me.
Anyways, so huge picnic, like cooler, and we're like going to a car show. I'm taking photos and stuff like that, and then we're like, okay, it's lunchtime, like let's go find a park. And so we take this giant cooler and like go to the park. He has this like blanket laid out, and then he opens up the cooler, and inside is this like huge bouquet of flowers.
Which is why I needed the cooler.
But because this is
she kept complaining about the
large
cooler
for 2 people. Like it fills up the entire back seat of my
you
car.
could have had one of the handles.
You are romantic. Look at
but
you.
The thing was, it wasn't 1 bouquet. It was 3 because
the stores don't sell bouquets good enough. They don't. You go to a store and they all blow because.
So you bought 3 of them.
You need 3 and then you combine them, and then they look like a good bouquet.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh!
For
look at
real.
you, extra.
And then like the cherry on top was he had a box of customized cookies that he had somebody make, and it was one of us was a rose, another one was like a little calendar with today's date, and it was with a heart, and then the last one was will you be my girlfriend, check yes, check yes.
Check yes, check.
And
I love it.
I said yes, but I wasn't like overwhelmed. I was just like kind of awestruck.
It was like yes, and then you gave me a hug, and it was like, this is awkward. Like, I thought it was a pity yes. I thought she was just like, oh, there's so much going on. Sure. And then she's going to tell me like 2 days from now.
Like, no.
Like, get lost, kid.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, no,
I still didn't know if you liked me at that point.
What was your thought? Wait, what was going through your head, Cassie?
I was like, what? Is this happening right now? Like, that's not happening to me.
Which was not at all.
Oh, my gosh.
Portrayed
I was
through
so
any
like
of your body
excited.
language.
Right. Tom's like, I had 3 bouquets of roses and cookies that I especially made.
Yeah. And all of my friends freaked out about it. They were like, are you serious? Like, why doesn't this happen to me? And like, where'd you get this guy?
So I have to ask, how did you propose? Was it as over the top?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
Over the top. You can explain.
Yeah, he asked me, by the way. So I can tell this.
What is the sass for? Oh my god.
They're married, guys, so it's okay. Yeah.
Happily married, might I add.
So she's not good with surprises, and she always tends to find out about things. So I wanted it to be somewhat of a surprise. She knew that we were going to get engaged. Yes. So I was like, okay, whatever. She bought her dress before we got engaged.
You're kidding.
No,
wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so to make it a surprise, I was like, okay, we're just going to do a bunch of special dates leading up to the proposal. Like, you don't know when the proposal is, but we do a couple special ones. So I took her to one decoy one.
So you tried to like hide it within these special dates because you didn't know when it was going to come. Okay.
So it was one decoy date that It was like some fancy restaurant.
It was 5-star fancy restaurant.
So good.
I was like,
Very good.
This is happening right now.
So you thought it was happening.
She kept looking
for
at me.
sure.
She had the eyes.
Oh, Dom,
yeah.
you are a savage. I wish I was as clever as you. Oh my gosh, you are good. Go
Don't
ahead.
let your, well, you've already proposed, but
Yeah,
it's like,
sorry.
don't let your fiance hear this. Oh, it's too late. Anyways.
And so, yeah, and I had her like, you're gonna wear a blindfold every single time because you can't know where the proposal is gonna happen. Because I wanted to be at a special place, which I'll get to in a second.
Yeah.
And so, good thing we did the decoy date because she complained so much about the blindfold hurting her head, and it was like, okay, geez, like. I'm glad I'm not proposing on this date because you're in a bad mood right now.
Oh my gosh.
And so I then bought
Just like
an extra cushioned one.
Oh, that's so funny.
And yeah, so then the next one, which she didn't know how many decoy dates there would be, I blindfolded, or I played you that video that I made. I made like this video.
It was like a
talking about-
special 6-month anniversary kind of gift. And yeah, you made
Played
a
the video, then I beat you in Mario Kart, and then I mic'd myself up because I recorded it. And then
I
we
told
left.
Like any guy would. Yeah. Yeah.
Then we left while you're blindfolded, and I'm just driving around for like 45 minutes because she knows the streets, and the place is only 15-ish minutes away.
And you're still blindfolded.
Yes,
Okay,
the
okay.
whole ride.
And
So
then
you drove around trying to confuse her?
Yeah, I was
I
like, I think I
see.
know where we are. And he's like, and I was right. I knew exactly where we were. Like
But I
on the
kept driving.
ride, but then you were just like,
and I had to time it with the light, so the sun was going down. So I was like, okay, like I got some
Oh
time.
my gosh, this guy. He's over the top. My gosh.
And so, actually, prior to like in the morning, my dad and I went to go set up this arch at the Servants of Mary Center for Peace, which is the largest Mary statue of Guadalupe in the world. And so we love that place. And we get there, and I'm like, I got to get the umbrella from the back, which was just a tripod and a camera. And she bought it. She thought I got an umbrella.
because it was snowing a little bit. This is in January.
And didn't want to get your hair all messed up for the date.
Yeah.
So then I'm walking her down. The path is so icy because it just like rained and then froze. So we're like
I'm also in
slipping
heels.
around.
He's
Oh
like
my
carrying this
gosh.
big tripod.
Caught
and
on
I'm like
camera. She
blindfolded.
face plants. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a pretty far walk to get back to where I wanted to be. And then we got back there, and then I was like, I got to fix my shoe. And she's like, huh? I don't wear shoes that really have to be tied. These ones don't have to be tied.
As I can tell. Yeah.
And
I was like, you don't have
and
shoelaces.
I'm getting real nervous because this is go time. I prepared. I watched the YouTube videos, top 10 things to do. You know, the usual.
I did not do that. Continue. Yeah.
And so then I proposed there in front with the arch and the lights and everything.
Yeah.
And then we had dinner with both families at a local little like
Metro Park.
Metro Parks.
Oh,
Just
that's
like
awesome.
a little pavilion.
Wow.
But yeah, it was really cute.
Dang. Did you know it was happening in that moment?
No, I didn't. Like, I knew that it was happening sometime, like within obviously the realm of dates, but that
Since the
specific
decoy dates,
one,
that's how she didn't know.
that specific one, yeah, I didn't know
The
necessarily.
decoy dates. Did you call them decoy dates?
He did. Did you?
Mm-mm.
don't
I said a date marathon.
Oh yeah, a date marathon. That's what it
Okay.
was.
Okay.
But like, yeah, my mom knew, his mom knew, and the like Cleveland bridal show was coming in to town like a week before we
Yeah.
were to get engaged, and they were like, well, you know, you're getting engaged this year, it only comes around once a year, like we'll just go and see what's happening. And I was like, whatever, like I'll just go and see. I don't want people selling me on stuff, like
Right.
and so I was not really into it.
And it was
but then,
all awkward because you
I was like,
you
I'm
wore
not
a ring
engaged,
just
like,
to pretend like you were.
Oh, that's
and they're like,
hilarious.
who's the bride? I was like, I'm not engaged, but that's me. And I saw this dress on a mannequin, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I gotta try that on. And it just so happened to be from a bridal shop that was like 15 minutes away, or like 5 minutes away from where I worked.
What?
It
That's
wasn't like a
awesome.
2 hour away. Like their prices were like skyrocketed. Like it was expensive, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like, I'm not gonna try that on because
Yeah.
I don't want to fall in love with it and be $50,000 in debt.
Right.
You know. But I tried it on, and yeah, that was the dress.
And that
I
was
bought
it.
it before we got engaged.
Wow.
But it was like a week prior, so
Oh
it
my
wasn't
gosh.
like years before
You
we
didn't know
got
it was
engaged.
a week though.
No, I didn't. But
praise God, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was good.
some women just take forever.
I knew what I wanted. I've
that's
had this
good.
picture
That's
in my
good.
mind for, forever. I knew exactly what ring I wanted. There was only a couple things I was worried about for the wedding. Like my dress, my ring, like the way that I look and having good photos. Everything else I was like not a bridezilla about. Yeah. I don't know.
What does Dom have to say?
No, yeah, that's true.
Yeah?
The most annoying part was trying to just like plan it with everybody else.
I believe it. My
Yeah.
gosh. Yeah. Planning, I hate planning weddings. I'm not even doing it. And it's, anyway.
You wore a slick suit though, a light blue suit. Yeah, it was like during Easter when he bought it, so they had all like the pastel colors, and yeah, it was good.
Love it.
I was just feeling it, feeling myself. Like, okay,
I
this is
mean,
it.
knowing you, Dom, it doesn't surprise me in the slightest.
It was good. Well, you hate things that are uncomfortable. Like you don't wear jeans, you don't tie your
Never.
shoes.
These are
like-
4-way stretch. You
Oh
won't,
my gosh.
you won't catch me dead in something that doesn't stretch.
Oh my
So we had to
gosh.
get like.
He never could get a job anywhere else because he wouldn't be able to look the part. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
But yeah, this was like the perfect suit. We tried on so many, and it was just like, nah. But the last place we went to obviously had the one that we wanted.
Right.
Anyways, let's stop talking
Yeah.
about wedding stuff. Let's get back on topic
I
here.
feel like retention just dipped hardcore.
It's okay. If they've
Thank you
lasted
for
this
staying.
if they've lasted this long, you're a real trooper. Yeah.
Dude, what are the dreams for yourself and for Catching Fire? Like we heard about how it started, what it's like now.
Yeah.
What about the future? I mean, because you're getting married.
Oh, yeah.
And Father Suso said you might have to be passing the torch soon because kids
Oh,
come into play.
did he actually say that?
Yeah, he's like, you can only be a young adult for
that's
so
true.
long.
That's true. So I'm currently 25. So I have until 39. So I've got some time. Who knows? I don't know. But no, I think the goals for myself have definitely changed over the years. My goal for Catching Fire, I think, also has changed too. I think for myself initially, for myself personally, like I was always like, I looked up at guys like Matt Frad, Trent Horn, Chris Stefanik. These guys were just like my biggest role models on like from a Catholic media standpoint. And so
Dom Man Productions.
Dom Man, role model. I will say that to the camera. But yeah, so for me, like in college, I was like, I want to be a Catholic speaker. Like that's gonna be whoa.
Whoa.
I guess God doesn't want me to
We
be a
just
Catholic.
lost power.
I guess God doesn't want me to be a Catholic speaker.
No, we're
camera
good.
stop?
These
We
are
have-
all on battery. We're still going.
Is that God's way of telling me you're not meant to be a Catholic speaker? Oh, that's great.
Holy crap.
Does that ever happen before in a podcast?
No, never.
This is
No,
the
this is the
one.
first time.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. We're just gonna roll with it. Jesus. Okay. All right. Is he in there, by the way? The light's on, so I would say yes.
I think he is.
Okay, Father. Father. Lord, I'm sorry. Wow. Okay. Back on track.
How dare you say that so close to me?
Right. Back on track. Where was I going with this? Yeah, so I always wanted to be a Catholic speaker after looking up to these guys. I mean, as time went on, like, will I ever actually have the opportunity to do that? I don't know. I would love to, but I mean, with Catching Fire, with Ignite, with Matchbox, I've had a lot of really cool gigs. I've spoken at a Theology of the Body relatively large retreat. I've emceed a few events. I mean, Becoming Fire, one of them, Ignite being another one of them. They've been really cool, and I've really had a really good time doing all of those things. So I mean, we'll see if I'm ever doing anything like that long term. But with regards to Catching Fire in particular, at first, when I was first doing this, I was like, if this just stays alive for a few years and we can pass the torch to someone and we get 20 people, praise God. But this is, I'm gonna say this like completely without any pride. Like I really do see the Lord working in all of this and seeing the people buy into the mission, to buy into where we are right now, and to see the structure being built. It is incredible, and it's all due to the Holy Spirit. And I think my goal, I would love to do Catching Fire full time. Like I really would. I'm an engineer right now, if I could somehow become my own missionary and do this for Catching Fire full time, that would be the dream come true. It really would be. But I'm getting married, like you said. Family's gonna come, and I don't. And my fiance Sophia, like she really wants that too. Like she wants to be a part of a mission oriented life as well. But it's whatever God calls us to do. I mean, my pipe dream really is I would love to put Catching Fire in every diocese in this country. So that would be my goal. Like, and if I had all the money in the world, I'd do that in a heartbeat. I really would. Just because, not because I think that I have something to offer, but in the sense of like the Holy Spirit has truly been so present to this ministry in a way that it's not just shrapnel. Like it's substantial now. And I think of like the parable of the talents, where he gives the one guy 1 talent, the other guy 2 or 3, and the other guy 7. And the guy with 7 and 2, like they reinvested their talents and they got double the amount back, right? And then with regards to the guy that had 1, he buried it and then gave the 1 back to the owner. And so for myself, like I really do think where I see Catching Fire at the moment, it is truly such a beautiful gift. And to see how many people it's affected in such a positive light. I see it as one of those talents, and I don't want to bury it. Like I don't. And if it means denying myself and taking a being not financially comfortable in any way, I would love to be able to, invest it in whatever way the Lord's calling me to do it. And so so that's where I'm at right now with it. I'd really just want to invest it in the way the Lord really wants me to do it. And I want to deny any sort of comfortable pleasures that he might have for me. So if that's, in other dioceses, if that's just staying here and really just, building it up, I don't know. Or if that's just handing it off to the right person, so be it. But that's really my perspective right now, is that it's so good. I just want to make sure it's not just buried. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's just sick. Because I'm serious. I'm just going to keep tooting your horn how much you don't like it.
I don't need this. Oh my gosh.
But you can tell that there is I like to call them, there's like a certain grace or spirit and energy that you have. You just got that. You got the it factor. But
stop. I appreciate it. Thank you, Don.
But
Thank you. You have that it factor. Look at the tattoo sleeve. That is the it factor. Sorry, continue.
But there's also this thing, I like to call it the Holy Spirit. It's like a Holy Spirit energy. And I just see that. I feel it. Everybody else could probably feel it too.
Oh my gosh. That is high praise. And that means a lot. Thank you. Thank you. Wow. I'm never good at accepting compliments. So
no, that's okay. Just sulk in the awkwardness.
Yes. You know how you felt when that guy was asking you wanted 2 tickets and you're like, yeah. And I'm like, that's kind of how I feel right now. I'm like, thank you. And I'm like, it's just sitting in it. But thank you, Rob. It means a lot. It means a lot.
Of course. I hope it's not coming off weird.
No, it's not. I'm good.
Okay. It's
like a bromance over here.
Tom, can we get lunch after this? Can we get coffee?
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm down. I'll drive to you next time. You drove an hour to get here. Oh my gosh.
What does I'm just gonna ask you another question just to get off this awkwardness. What does living a mission-oriented life look like?
You couldn't even get a sentence out.
I'm just gonna keep
Can you
moving.
ask it? What is? What about a mission?
Mission-oriented
Mission-oriented life look like?
What does it look like? Okay. Yeah. So I think I would say the answer to that in 3 different parts, because I think what it comes down to is your ability to take what the Lord has given you to serve others. I think that's really the encompassing factor of what a mission-oriented life looks like. But I think there are 3 steps to really live out a mission-oriented life. I think the first one is building your foundation. And building your foundation is really with community. You need people to support you. And you can't do it by yourself. You need him, he needs you, you need other people around you that are faithful to be able to continue to fall back on them and to grow with them. You need to have good people around you. They always say when you're like running, like when I was a cross country runner, they would always say you want to run with people faster than you, so you can how to run faster. But if you're always running people that are slower than you, you're never going to get better. And it's the same thing with the crowd. If you put yourself in a place, like you can tell how a person's going to be if you name their 5 closest friends.
Oh yeah.
You know, so. I think, first of all, you have to surround yourself with people that are good, and they are going to constantly challenge you to be the holiest man or woman you possibly can be. So I would say that's the first thing. The second thing I would say is you need to form yourself. And people, this is, I think, one of the harder steps, because when you form yourself, like I think this can go a number of ways. I think you have to root out and eradicate anything that might lead you to sin. Anything. And this might sound extreme, but it's St. Paul writes about this himself in Acts, and it's just so important for us to recognize that we have to be ruthless with our environment. So if you're let's just say this, like if you're watching things you probably shouldn't be watching, if you're even like comedy, or you're watching TV shows that have things on there that you probably shouldn't be watching that might be lustful in whatever regard, or if you're putting yourself in places that might cause you to be more greedy, or if you have friends, these sort of things. Like you want to take a good look at your life, take a good look at your actions and habits, like what leads me to sin, okay? And you want to try to, pluck that out, so to speak. You pluck your, and so that's really what you want to do with your environment. And some of those things, like you have to really discern well and whether it's good for you, but honestly, I think it's good for you to surround yourself with good, holy things. And do I do this well? Absolutely not. I'm on this program right now. You probably know of it, Exodus 90. It's my 4th year doing it. So it's like, I should be a pro at this. And every time it hits me, it's like, no, like you're a weakling. So
you should do that next year.
Yeah, Dom, come on. I'll do a 5th year with you.
I'm with it.
Cass is like, okay. But yeah, so another thing that they talk about in Exodus is asceticism. And so, like, with that, like, that's removing yourself from unnecessary media usage, unnecessary purchases. They even tell you to take cold showers. I'm sure that's the fun one everyone loves to do. But no snacking between meals. And so, when you start denying yourself of some of these things, it's not easy. It's not easy, right? But when you start denying yourself of some of these things, it really teaches you self-denial, more discipline, and really it orients yourself towards your eyes to be higher rather than on this world. And then the third thing I would say is to really so I would say community. I would definitely say form yourself. And the third thing I would really say is people forget this last thing, and it's evangelization. And and there are so many ways that you can fall into pitfalls with this one, but it is where Catholics have fallen short for the last 2,000 years. It's the hardest one to do because people like to get in their communities, they get comfortable, they love their holy Catholic bubble that they're in, and they'll stop there, and they'll make excuses like, I'm no saint, like I'm no like Saint Basil or Saint Gregory, or I really think it's always important for all of us to recognize the Lord has bestowed gifts upon you that no one else in the whole wide world will ever bear. Dom has gifts in him that no one will ever bear ever again. You, Cassie, have gifts in you that nobody will ever be able to live up to ever again. And those things that are your talents, like I said before, that are buried when you get comfortable. And so, and I think it's very important for us as Catholics is that we go and make disciples of all nations. We go and proclaim the gospel. But what does that look like? Does that mean being on street corners, holding up signs and preaching? No, like we're in an age where we have to be creative with how we live ourselves. But it honestly just comes down to just being yourself and being unafraid to share who you are. And that's really where I think like true evangelization comes from. Like I work at Energizer. It's a great company, but at the same time, like you've got people that are very secularized there, but everybody knows in that company that I'm Catholic only because they walk in my office, they see Mary, crucifix, Saint Michael, you know, Our Lady of Guadalupe, like they see all of it. So it just really comes down to like just live your authentic self, and it's going to change a lot of hearts and minds. And I've had 3 coworkers that say now, "Can you take me to church?" And that's just based on conversations, and they were all fallen away Catholics. So yeah, it's really cool.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really cool stuff, and you guys do it too, man. This whole podcast and this video, like it does evangelization to a T. So yeah, you're beating me there. So I just got 3. You guys have the rest of the world. So.
Oh my gosh. Full of compliments today. Oh my goodness.
I know. It's just a compliment echo chamber. It's great.
We're here to affirm, right? Yeah, that's what we're here. We're really build each other up, you know.
Something that we've noticed in a lot of the talks that, or not talks, but a lot of the discussions we've been having is they specifically mention that the second part, which is the formation.
Yeah.
In terms of isolating yourself from these secular things, these bad habits that you have, this music, this show, and I just think not enough people even understand how it's influencing their brain, their actions, their words,
because it's so normalized in culture where they're like,
and it's a habit.
What's wrong with it?
They just keep doing it and doing it and doing it.
Yeah.
And even the music, like music is huge. I went through this program, Freedom Coaching, and one of the first things they say is only Christian music. And I'm like, oh gosh, like I'm a music guy.
This? Yes, yeah.
And so they're like, yeah, only Christian music. So I'm like, come on.
I can't work out to praise and worship. Like, I'm sorry. Yeah.
But you can.
Well, go ahead. Sorry, I have my own way of doing this, but go ahead.
Just finding Christian rappers.
Yes, Christian hip hop. Yes,
it's actually really good. And now people are gonna be like, no, it's not. And
no,
yes, it is actually good.
You want KB in your life? I'm telling you, he's got it. Henrik, Gio, Lodge, all these guys. I have it. I'm on it. I'm telling you, all these guys.
This is whole playlist right there.
My whole playlist.
I'm telling you, Carrying the Light, like all these guys. I love it, and I have found this. I feel like it's a gold mine, like a gem in the rough that no one's found or talked about. But every Exodus that I go into this, because you can't listen to anything but Christian music, I say like, this is it. I'm telling you guys, this is what will get you back into good Christian music.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you echo the same thing? Yeah. Okay. Good.
Gio's my favorite.
Which one? Gio is?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has not released a song where I'm like, this is not that good. Every single time, I'm like, dang.
Yeah, Gio's pretty good.
He's on
it. It comes off in a way where you're like, I didn't even know that was Christmas. It was Christmas music, but Christian.
Yeah. If someone from the outside listened to what Ben was saying, that's a bop, and they'll be like, "Wait, what are they singing?" And then they don't even register that it's actually Christian. It's incredible.
Which is incredible because that's exactly what all the secular songs are doing too.
Right.
They don't even realize that it keeps playing in their head. But when you're listening to all the Christian music, then you just constantly keep repeating these things, and the songs are stuck in your head, and it's things that uplift, which is, I don't know, it's just crazy how much it affects you.
Oh, heck yes.
Yeah.
Dom, I'm glad someone finally understands. No one else has ever understood, so I'm glad you do. Yeah, that's awesome. Sure. Okay, I got to share my playlist with you now, so this is good to know.
Well, you did this thing on Instagram where you would be like, posting Christian songs until you listen to them or something like that. I don't know exactly what your caption
posting
was.
Fire Christian music until you give it a try.
Yeah. And it was like,
I went for like a year, I think.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
every
stuff
single
started
day
getting dry. And I was like, oh boy. I don't know if these are bops anymore.
Yeah,
we're going to listen.
Right.
But yeah, so if you want some good ones, check his Instagram.
Yeah, you got to send me what you got. You might have more than I do. So that's awesome.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
I mean, going to like things like the fest too, it's like, wow, this is actually really good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's the first time I was exposed to Crowder. I was like,
really? Oh, Crowder's good too. Yeah.
How?
Yeah.
This dude, he knows it. He knows what he's doing. Because I hate concerts in general because they just...
But you're a music guy?
Yeah, I don't go to concerts. I had one really bad experience. I went to a DaBaby concert back when I was listening to secular music.
I see.
And it was on his come up, and it just like it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
The music wasn't synced. Lil Tecca was there, and it's like nothing, like somebody shoestringed this thing together somehow.
Oh,
it was in the Wolfstein Center, and I was like, jeez. Terrible experience.
Well, didn't you think you were gonna like get robbed or something? Like there was just so many people there too. I don't know.
There actually was not a lot of people.
There wasn't?
That's part of
Okay.
why it was terrible.
Maybe I.
It was so weird. It was
something
just a
different.
weird experience. Anyway, off of that topic, exposing the baby and everything.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
No,
it.
I don't even know where we're going with that.
We were talking about. I don't even know what the question was. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
We were talking about formation.
Oh, formation. Yeah.
Like getting.
Yeah,
stuff out of
and
your
prayer
life.
too. I don't know why I didn't say that, but absolutely, you've got to pray. Like, hands down. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, formation is incredibly important, especially because, like, I remember, like, it started with stuff that we needed to get out of our lives, like pornography and stuff like that people just don't talk about.
Mm-hmm.
And then I remember you came home from, I think it was confession, and you were like, you read the confession thing.
This is one of the worst things I've ever.
I've
thing.
And
This is exaggerating, but it's terrible.
It said like
The examination of conscience. Is what you're saying?
yeah, it was like pirating movies or something like that.
I just really wish I never read it. But
Because
I'm
you
glad I
pirated
did.
movies, Tom.
Off
No
the
comment.
record.
Off the record. I have too. It's okay.
Listen,
Don't feel
yes,
too bad.
But here, I mean, the problem is like, oh yeah, that's sick. You could just, you. I don't even know.
It's okay, Dom. It's okay.
It is what it is.
Every
It was just-
saint
I didn't
has a
realize-
past. Every sin. I mean, sorry, no, jeez. Yeah, every saint has a past. Every sinner has a future. Is that the saying, right? Yeah, pirating movies in your past. He's
Yeah,
like,
it
I'm
is in the
doing it
past.
right now.
It is in the past.
No, because now it's so annoying to
Yeah,
try to
because
watch
I'm
a
like,
movie.
why did you read that? Like, we can't do this anymore.
Oh,
It's so
that
dumb.
is
And so I'm like
hilarious.
trying to scroll through Netflix.
But I'm like, no, I can't do it anymore. Now
Yeah.
that I know, because
Yeah.
I legitimately didn't think anything of it. Like, just been doing it my whole life casually, no big deal, and didn't think anything of it. Didn't think twice, and then I read it, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I even told the priest in confession. I was like,
And he laughed at you.
Did he really?
I
The
can't
priest laughed?
believe, like, I can't believe this is.
He like chuckled.
Oh,
Because
that is so
not,
funny.
it's not serious. I'm just like joking around with him, and I'm like, I cannot believe that. Like, I'm kind of wish I did not read that little pamphlet you
Yeah.
got out there.
Yeah, yeah.
Because now I have to pay for every movie.
right? And now you have full knowledge, which is
Yeah.
terrible. It's the same thing when I found out about masturbation. I was like, shoot. It's like now I know. I was in college. I was like, oh, darn it. Now it's bad. So yeah, it's like I wish I never knew, but I'm glad I do. So,
Yeah.
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 Pirating movies is a different story. It's a little less grave. So.
Oh my god.
Still though, I don't know.
Oh, man.
It was just one of those like I don't want to
Just-
be a sinner.
yeah,
Like,
just getting
this
stuff out of your
small little
life.
thing.
Yeah.
It's like I can't do it, and I can't support it. It's like I don't care if my family's.
I'm throwing it out.
If somebody's gonna go watch a movie that's pirated, like I'm just letting you know. I read this thing once, and it changed my
And
life.
I can't get behind it.
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious.
I know it sounds like he's joking, but he's dead
No, I'm dead
serious
serious.
about it.
Really?
We do
Yeah.
not.
Oh
at
my
all.
gosh.
Yeah, we're very, very serious.
A
about
lot's
it.
changed. Wow.
Yeah.
Dom, you're a changed man.
Thank you.
And now he forced me into that too. He's like,
Of course.
now that I know, it's like, why'd you tell me?
Yeah,
Like,
right. Come on. At least you could have gotten the movies from her if she didn't know.
No.
Oh
No,
my
Father
gosh.
Jay preached on this one time. He was talking about, I can't remember what, like every good Catholic does not know scripture. I can't remember what it was about, but it talked about if you know and you're not also like telling other people and helping them and letting them know, not in like a scolding way, but in
Yeah.
like a, I want to save you, I want to help you become saved and like
Yeah.
get you to heaven.
By
And
not
you're-
pirating movies.
Yeah.
No, okay, it's probably more.
No,
on
I'm
the
messing.
extreme
You're
side.
right though, Dom. You're right. I'm just
But-
screwing around.
You can't, like, you are responsible then.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure, I'm just going to butcher it, but it had something to do with, like, Jesus tells you that you're responsible for, if you know and you're not letting them know, then their sin, you're also, like, either partially or fully responsible for them doing
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
Yeah.
along the lines.
No,
of it.
I believe it. I'm no theologian, but I believe it.
Yeah, me neither.
Yeah.
It's all right. What are some of the biggest barriers to mission and holiness?
I would definitely say fear is probably one of the biggest. For mission in particular, because I think, especially the evangelization part, where it's like, okay, you have a community, you're forming yourself, and now I'm called to evangelize. That leap is really hard for people because they're so scared. It's different if you were like in the 20s and 30s, like everybody was Catholic, or at least Christian for that matter, and the culture supported, the society around you would support a lot of the moral views that you hold today. But now so many people are like a bunch of little scared cats, and includes myself. I'm a scared cat. And it's a shame because there are so many people that are just like, I'm so fearful for my own identity, for my reputation, my job, my career, my family. Like I'm just so afraid. And I think that is one of the biggest things that prohibit you from your growth. 100 times out of 10 is that. And the second thing I would say is pride. And this is, you'll see a lot more along the lines of people that are spiritually with it, but the deadliest sin of them all is pride, and spiritual pride is the deadliest thing that could bring you down. And that's a lot of times like, and that's why I really try to be humble in a lot of ways, and that's why it's hard for me to receive, because it can be spiritual pride if you can't receive a compliment, you know. And so I know I definitely struggle in that area as well, but spiritual pride is another big prohibitor as well for a lot of people, and especially if you're on a pedestal, man, and people see you and know you, you have a lot of temptations to be able to think of yourself as like, you're it, you know? And thank you, Dom. Appreciate for boosting my spiritual pride. No, I'm just kidding. Other people can say that about you, but you can't say it about yourself. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like, I can't think of myself as this high and mighty great person that I'm going to preach to all the nation, like, because they need me. No, they need the Lord, and you're just the vessel, right? And so I think those are the two biggest things I think really that can really prohibit your growth is fear, and then also spiritual pride, and to always just keep questioning yourself. And that's why confession is so good, because when you go through an examination of conscience, just like if you read about pirated movies, like those things though, like those questions allow you to do a little mental checklist and to make sure everything's clean and tidy up there, you know, because there are definitely times where I start listening to secular music or something, and I'm in the car and I'm just thinking of myself as like it, you know, and I'm like, I feel like I'm on the top of the world, but I have to always revert it to like, I'm only here because the Lord has put me here. The Lord has blessed me, and I am just so gracious to walk on two legs. I am just so grateful I can see and to speak and to move my arms. Like it is all such a gift, and to have a beautiful fiance and such a good ministry and a good family and community. Like it just is all so good. And so reverting it and to combat it, I say, is always reverting it back to our Lord and giving glory and praise to Him. So yeah. I'm sorry, that was again a little mouthful, but yeah.
No, I love it. How do you get people out of the scaredy cat, like, I can't go do this, I'm too scared, I'm about to get canceled type of deal?
Yeah. I think it comes back to trust. Trust and knowing your identity. And I think if you know who you are, like deeply rootedly, like if you know your purpose, if you know who you are, and in the eyes of the Lord, if you know that deeply, you'll never be afraid. And I mean that because like if you really trust Him and you really love Him and you believe what He says about you, anything else anyone would say wouldn't matter. You know. And for myself, like I get scared too, but it takes time and development to be able to get in these habits of, okay, is this something that I believe, or is this something that the Lord is calling me to? And so I definitely think like it comes down to trust. And so praying the litany of trust, or praying the litany of humility, the divine praises, all these things direct our eyes back to God to say He is the one in control, not me. That is really, at the end of the day, we want to keep our eyes off the horizon and up. Aim high, really. And that's a Air Force saying, but really aim high, keep your eyes up. And they say, even like exorcists, they say, Keep your head, like when you're in the middle of spiritual temptation, or if you're being oppressed or whatever, in what way, just you are never, when you're in those states, you're never going to ever reconcile with and reason appropriately in that moment when you're being attacked. But the only thing you can do, one of the big things, is just keep your eyes to heaven. If you keep your eyes there the whole time, eventually it'll subside, and then you'll be able to reason well. But when you're in the moment of spiritual attack and temptation, all that, just keep your eyes pointed to heaven. And that's what all the great martyrs, like that's what has led them to die these gruesome deaths, is because they had hope and they kept their eyes pointed to heaven. So,
Wow.
I think a big thing is also memorizing some deliverance prayers.
Absolutely.
Boom.
Dude.
Right when it comes...
Oh, I was going to bring it. I had a book of deliverance prayers from Father Ripperger. I was going to bring, I don't know why I didn't, but I saw it on my desk before I came. But that's good that you mentioned that. Yes, that absolutely helps. Hands down.
Yeah.
Sorry, that was an anecdote, but I agree. Good point, Tom. Good point.
Thank you.
See, you're wise, man. You know what you're doing.
No, thank you. I just learned it all from a spiritual coach.
Oh my gosh.
But now you're teaching other people, so.
There you go. Yeah. My favorite deliverance prayer is, I'm going to butcher it now that I have to say it out loud, is, God, please cast this, you like kind of like name the temptation or whatever you're going through. So God, please cast this lustful temptation, these thoughts and these desires to the nearest tabernacle and send them back to hell.
Amen.
Real close.
Amen. Amen. That's awesome. I love it.
So
I'm going to steal that one.
Yeah, do it.
Please do.
Just so that is a habit, though.
It
Because,
should be.
If you're going through some crazy temptation or something, and you said you cannot think properly,
right,
like your brain's all fogged and you don't know what to do, but if you have that memorized
in your back pocket,
and you can just go, boom,
hands down. Yep.
It breaks up the temptation and then starts to align you, like you said, to heaven.
Oh, I entirely agree. Yes. Yeah, if you have those prayers in your back pocket, you're well equipped. Yeah.
Where does your hope lie, Joe?
How do I say this without being cheesy? I mean, Jesus. Okay, that's the truth in the Eucharist. But what does that mean? I think it's a good question. I think we've had some really good approved revelation that the Lord has come and bestowed upon us recently, with specifically Divine Mercy and the Sacred Heart. Those two images in particular that have been given to us by St. Faustina and St. Margaret Mary, I think speak wonders for where we are right now. And the reason I say that is because I think that in this generation that we live in and the world that we live in right now, like, I think the Lord has just such eyes of mercy for us. When he's on the cross hanging there and his most precious blood is being poured out, like, he wants and just wills us to show us mercy, and he wants us just to accept it, and like, Tom, we all have a past. Cass, we all have a past. Yeah. We all of us have something we've done terribly wrong, or even things that we're not proud of, we're ashamed of. It doesn't matter. But when he's on the cross and he says, "I thirst for you," or when he says, "I thirst," that's a meditation for Mother Teresa, Saint Mother Teresa. But he is just truly, undoubtedly, he just wants to just unload the grace of mercy on top of you, and just being able to receive that is very, very hopeful. And I think all of us here, like, whether you're Christian, atheist, Catholic, it doesn't matter, him dying on that cross and literally pouring out his blood for all of us, and enduring the scourging and the crown of thorns. I think the Sacred Heart really shows a good image, is that his heart still and just so ardently burns for us, and he thirsts for us, and he just wants to bestow his graces upon us. So I think a good meditation for all of us is to recognize how truly loved that you are, and how much the Lord just wants to forgive, and he wants to give you mercy, and he wants to say that you're not too far gone. And I think we're in a generation where they are so afraid, they're so scared, and they want to do a really good job. The Lord really recognizes this and recognizes that we need mercy, and to provide us that hope that you're not too far gone. And I think this generation needs it. And I really think, I don't know how many more messages he's going to give us, but I really think those two in particular, with St. Faustina's Divine Mercy, and then also St. Margaret Mary's most precious sacred heart, are exactly what the world needs right now. So that's one of the reasons Catching Fire's logo is the Sacred Heart. Anyway, beside the point. Yeah.
There we go.
So,
any questions that we haven't asked that you think we should be?
I don't know. No, you guys did a great job. I think I don't know if I emphasize it enough, but I think it's really important for you continue to, I don't think we talked about prayer a ton, but it is so important. Getting before the Blessed Sacrament in any way, and to get on your knees, and your posture makes a huge difference, and how you orient yourself to him. That's why we genuflect. That's why we do all these other things. It's because, to show reverence, because if you always have in the back of your mind that he is the God of the universe, he is creating us, he is the one that made you and thought of you before you were born, and he's provided breath in your lungs and sight to see, and to be able to allow your car to start, to get you where you need to go. If we always keep in the back of our mind that he is the one that is just in charge of everything, it will radically change your life if you just give gratitude and thanks and praise for it. But that's the one thing I really just I would love to end on. So yeah, absolutely.
Where can they find you, Catching Fire, everything?
Oh boy. You can find the website Catching Fire. It's on catchingfirestc.com. STC stands for St. Columcille, is where we're based. So catchingfirestc.com. And then Ignite Catholic is the URL. So ignitecatholic.com is, if you want to come to the next Ignite in Cleveland, it'll be posted on that website. You can see how the last one went as well. There's a highlight video and some pictures and whatnot. Do we have anything else? We've got an Instagram that's also Catching Fire STC. I don't know the exact username, but that's it. Facebook, we're on there. But yeah, check us out. I have deleted most of my social media myself. So my Instagram's gone, my Snapchat's gone. My Facebook, I just disabled. It's still
I slid in there then just last.
Really? When did you last see it? Yeah. When did you see it last?
No, I'm saying to get you on here.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yes, you did.
That's why you're dude, text me. I was like,
I'm not kidding. I disabled it right before the new year. I was like, I can't do this anymore. And so I was like, I can't delete it yet, but I can't be on here. I can't have the temptation, so it's disabled. So yeah, so you can't really get a hold of me personally. If you know someone that, they can get a hold of me. So yeah, anyway.
Cool.
Yeah, man.
Sweet. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah,
absolutely. Guys, thanks for having me. You guys, and I would love to just end on this. You guys are incredible. And I'm put you on the spot.
Oh
I am putting you on the spot. You guys are doing great work. I love, how old are you two?
I'm 20.
20? Oh my gosh.
23.
You guys, I'm 25, and I look up to you guys. You have no idea.
That is, you're joking.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. You guys do such incredible, great work. And I know I see it from afar because you guys are an hour away from me. But you guys do such good work. And I just want to affirm that so well. Please don't ever stop. In fact, you're 23 and you've got DM on these things, and you're all over the place, and you've got this production set up. Dude, you are so good at what you do. And Cassie, you are so good at who you are. I'm not kidding. Oh my gosh, you guys are so great together. Don't let anybody, if you need affirmation, or if you're ever doubting what you're doing, let me know. I'll pray with you, call you up, whatever. I'm not kidding. You guys are really gonna be an incredible witness, Catholic couple for generations to come. So
jeez, I can't.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
I'm just gonna awkwardness.
I told you. Or making it awkward for everybody here. Making it awkward. Yeah. No, but thank you guys. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be here.